Okay, I let it run a couple seconds and we are recording. I don't have a script. This is going to be unedited, and I'm going to try to make this as quickly as possible. Now, before we begin, I just want to make this clear, and I've done this on several videos, but I'll say it again, is that I'm not a musician, I'm not a producer, I'm not an engineer, I'm not an expert, I'm none of those things. I'm brand new. Just got into this stuff a couple years ago. I don't know anything about anything. And if you're looking for an expert or a professional, you've come to the wrong place. I'm here to ask questions and to discuss things I'm learning. And I'm doing this later in life. I'm 46 years old and I just bought a bunch of stuff. And now I'm starting to use it. And with that out of the way, I'm going to be discussing... I was going to discuss the Mercury-4 that I got from Cherry Audio yesterday. But then I thought about it a little bit. It's like, well, maybe it's a broader discussion. And that discussion is recreating sounds. And one of the sounds that several sounds I'm trying to recreate, granted, I'm not going to make covers or recreate the songs or anything. I just want to know that I know how to do it. And since I'm brand new, I don't even know what the first knob does. So I'm going to have to sit down and learn this stuff. But I think it's incentivized that it's something that I like to do or what I hear and trying to translate stuff. Maybe that's more advanced than I realize. I don't know. But anyway, let's get into this. And we're talking about Nick Rhodes and Duran Duran. I don't know if he's underrated or whatever, but I've been a fan of theirs since the early 80s. I really got into them in the early 90s with their second self-titled album, which is a wedding album, and Ordinary World changed everything for me when it comes to that band. But earlier recordings, especially their first record, had several songs that have this really percussive arpeggio or sequence. I'm not very sure, but this Mercury-4 instrument has sorry, I had this queued up and I pressed the space bar by accident, and I'll play that a little bit. But this Mercury-4 plugin just came out the other day, something like that. And when I was playing with the presets yesterday on Twitch, I was just pressing this button and just trying all of them. And there was two presets here that came up. One's Rio. It's a little fast. It doesn't sound 100%, but it's pretty close. And the next one is Hungry Like a Wolf, and that is called Wolf Runner. And then, of course, Andy comes in with his guitar, and John Taylor comes in with that signature bass line that made the songs. And then that made me think about a book I read 10, 15 years ago regarding about how Nick Rhodes came up with some of the earlier sounds, including the one I was just discussing, the first album. And how was a lot of those songs were made on the Jupiter 4. And I haven't seen the Jupiter 4 looking around anywhere until this came out. But then again, Roland may have it on their cloud subscription. I'm not 100% sure. But I was really excited when this came out because it was a very reasonable price, under $40, and just sounds fantastic. It sounds great. And I'm really excited to learn this and play around with it, which is why I said, man, I want to make a video. So as you just heard just a couple seconds ago, I'm really curious with the analog synthesizer hardware gurus out there, and I know they're out there. How was this made? I'm sure it's simple, but for a newbie like me, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of newbies out there or even those that know what they're doing want to know how this is made. Now, Planet Earth was discussed on another YouTube video, and the author of that video was saying, "Oh, it's probably made with a Prophet 5." And I'm not discounting what he said, but I'm getting conflicting answers. Nick Rhodes himself said it was a Jupiter 4, but which songs, I don't know. I know he used a whole bunch of them, everything from the Prophet 5 to the Synclavier to the CMI. He was one of the earlier adopters of the CMI, which, oh my God, that thing was expensive. What is it, $40,000 for the base model? It was crazy. But he had all those things, and he talked about how the earlier records were made with a Jupiter 4. So when I saw this, oh man, maybe I could recreate it. But none of the presets had the percussive sweeping arpeggio or sequence that was used in about three songs maybe. One was Planet Earth that had that, Careless Memories, and what was the other one? Sound of Thunder. So let's play this one, and any Duran Duran fan knows this sound. But what is it? How is it made? One more time. Okay, so when I first heard the song, a long time ago, when I first got into this, like 91, 92, I thought it was made with a drum machine or a drum with, or analog drums with a delay on it, or a phaser, or whatever. Well, it has to be a drum machine, but I had no idea it was done with a synthesizer, because I had no idea what synthesizers did. And Ontario Music, where I used to hang out, only had solid state synthesizers. They didn't have any analog for some strange reason. But I only heard of analog synthesizers when I got back into the hobby 20, 25 years later. And it's like, oh, that's how it was made. And according to this book, apparently was made with a Jupiter 4. So how was that made? Here's the beginning of Planet Earth, which is, I guess, more well known, if that's even a correct sentence. And here we go. Okay, so has that pad and that percussive sound like together. I'm not sure if it's the same preset, but it sounds great. It just gets you excited. It's just really cool sounding. How was that done? And the other was Sound of Thunder. And if I remember right, and fans probably know, was that during auditions when Simon Le Bon was called in after the previous singer. Who was the previous singer? I'm trying to remember his name. And he signed over the rights to Girls on Film. Andy Wickett. They let him go, or he quit, or whatever it was. And then they brought Simon Le Bon in because he had the look, and he had, just by happenstance, a book of lyrics, and Sound of Thunder was one of them, and apparently fit over whatever the band was playing. And that's a cool story, right? And that has a similar sounding opening. And that's Sound of Thunder. Oh, sound effects. Oh, that's the first. That's the first result is the sound effects. The Sound of Thunder. Okay, here's Sound of Thunder, and that's also at the beginning. Hear that? How is that done? It sounds so cool. That is so awesome. And when Roger kicks in with that, it just wants you to want to get up and dance. This is really cool, gets your blood going kind of, tune. It's a really catchy tune. It's just really nice. Man, how do I recreate that? It's so exciting, So that's my question. How was that done? Was it even done with not Mercury-4, the Jupiter-4? Can it be recreated with other instruments, or is it a combination of instruments or effects to get that sound? Maybe it's that. Can it be recreated with the Jupiter-8, Prophet 5, SEM, a synclavier? There's tons and tons of these instruments, and I'll never own the hardware, but these sound so great, even with just my Arturia MK249. I got that a couple years, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. Even though I don't know what I'm doing, just messing around with the noises is just hours and hours of fun. So that's my question to you guys is just how some of these sounds are made. And is it yours? Well, maybe I shouldn't even say it like that. I got to sit down and learn this. There's hundreds of tutorials out there on how these things work. So I just got to sit down and learn it. But my problem is that I'm trying to learn 100 things at once, which is not a good idea. I'm all over the map. I'm all over the place. I say, oh, here's this, here's that. I want to try this. I want to try that. And then I don't know. A scattershot approach doesn't do any good. So I think I'm going to have to focus on one thing. And maybe I should learn, maybe I really should learn music first. That's probably my first order of business, is learning what a whole note and half note is, right? But, you kind of get ahead of myself, or I kind of get ahead of myself and, try to do, run before I walk. And it's not a good idea. And, but this is really exciting. This is a really great sounding instrument. I would recommend this to anyone. It's very, very reasonably priced. And no, I'm not I'm not a paid sponsor. They're not paying me to do this. This is just my own opinion. But I love it. But this is probably the newbie talking. And but I've tried a bunch of other stuff. They sound great. Don't get me wrong. They're really good. But this one's pretty exciting. It sounds really good. And another one I'm messing around with right now is there's another one I bought was the Complete. And it's not the ultimate, but it's the lowest tier of Complete. And even that had tons and tons of stuff. It had contact instruments, and then it had standalone VSTs like the Massive X. Massive X is so much fun to play with. It's just so ginormous and so full of features that I can spend a year just messing around with the different knobs and dials and stuff. So that's exciting. And trying out the different mics I bought. I mostly use the SM7B, but right now, as you can tell with all the background noise, I have a warm, it's a WA87R2, which is the U87 clone. And I did that on a previous video, and I'm using it now, and I'm really liking how it sounds. It sounds great. But I have an untreated room, and of course you can hear the echo and the background noise and that kind of thing. So I'm going to have to get a treated room, but I wanted to try this on recording. So that aside. But just later in life, just doing all this stuff, learning this stuff. 46 years old, so I'm closer to 50 than 40. Where did the time go? I don't know. But I think I blabbed long enough. But I just wanted to put this out there and ask the questions on how you, when you hear a nice sound on a record or something, and you want to recreate it on the synthesizer, how do you get that from your head to the hardware, or the software in this case? And, be inspired. I have things that I have ideas I want to put down. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. And it's tough when you don't know. So that means I have to learn. Anyway, I think I've blabbed long enough. I might make another video in a little bit going over some more stuff, but this is kind of exciting. So I will catch you at another time. And thank you for listening and possibly answering my questions.